The Galactic Challenge. In the vast expanse of the Milky Way, where countless civilizations had risen and fallen over billions of years, humanity's emergence onto the galactic stage was met with mixed reactions. Some species welcomed the newcomers with curiosity, while others viewed them with suspicion or outright disdain. Among the latter was the Zarkonian Empire, a militant civilization that had dominated a significant portion of the galaxy for millennia. The Zarkonians, with their imposing physiques and advanced technology, had long considered themselves the pinnacle of evolution. Their society was built on the principles of strength and conquest, believing that only through constant conflict could a species truly prove its worth. When news reached them of a fledgling race from a backwater solar system rapidly expanding its influence, the Zarkonians saw an opportunity to reassert their dominance. On a crisp autumn morning in New Geneva, Earth's capital for interstellar affairs, an urgent message arrived from the Galactic Council. The Zarkonian Empire had issued a formal challenge to humanity, demanding that they prove their right to exist among the stars or face annihilation. The news sent shockwaves through human society, from the bustling megalopolises of Earth to the farthest colony worlds. Dr. Amelia Chen, Earth's chief diplomat to the Galactic Council, sat in her office, her usually calm demeanor shaken by the gravity of the situation. She had spent years studying alien cultures, working tirelessly to build bridges between humanity and other species. But the Zarkonians had always been an enigma, their aggressive stance making diplomacy nearly impossible. "They can't be serious," muttered Captain James Rodriguez, head of Earth's Defense Force, as he paced the room. "We've barely scratched the surface of interstellar travel, and they want us to fight a war." Amelia shook her head, her mind racing through potential scenarios. "I don't think they want a war, James. At least not yet. This is a test, a way to gauge our resolve and capabilities. So what do we do? Roll over and show our belly, or start arming every ship we have?" James's voice was tense, his military training urging him towards action. Amelia stood up, walking to the large window that overlooked the sprawling city below. The sun glinted off the sleek buildings, a testament to human ingenuity and perseverance. "Neither," she said firmly. "We're going to do what humanity does best. We're going to surprise them." Over the next few days, Earth's leaders convened in emergency sessions, debating the best course of action. Some advocated for a show of military might, arguing that only strength would earn the Zarkonians' respect. Others pushed for diplomatic solutions, hoping to avoid conflict altogether. But it was a proposal from an unlikely source that caught Amelia's attention. Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka, a renowned historian and anthropologist, suggested an unconventional approach. "We need to show them our history," he explained during a tense meeting. "Not just our technological achievements, but our struggles, our conflicts, and most importantly, how we've learned from them." The idea was met with skepticism at first. How could history lessons deter a species bent on domination? But as Hiroshi elaborated on his plan, Amelia felt a spark of hope. This wasn't just about avoiding war. It was about changing the narrative, about making the Zarkonians see humanity in a new light. With time running short, Earth's leaders gave Amelia and her team the green light to proceed with Hiroshi's plan. They would accept the Zarkonian challenge, but on their own terms. Instead of a battlefield, they would meet in the grand halls of the Galactic Council, where representatives from across the galaxy would bear witness to humanity's response. As preparations began in earnest, Amelia couldn't shake a feeling of apprehension. They were gambling the fate of their species on the power of words and shared experiences. Would it be enough to sway a civilization that valued strength above all else? The day of the confrontation arrived all too soon. Amelia stood before a mirror in her quarters aboard the diplomatic vessel Horizon, adjusting her formal attire. The weight of responsibility pressed heavily on her shoulders, but there was a glimmer of determination in her eyes. "Are you ready?" James asked, appearing in the doorway. He had insisted on accompanying the diplomatic team, a reminder that while they sought peace, they were prepared for any outcome. Amelia took a deep breath, steadying herself. As ready as I'll ever be. Let's go make history, or teach it, at least. As they made their way to the shuttle bay, Amelia's mind wandered to the billions of humans back on Earth and scattered across the colonies. They were counting on her, on this mission, to secure their place among the stars. Failure wasn't an option. The shuttle ride to the Galactic Council station was tense and quiet. Each member of the team was lost in their own thoughts, mentally preparing for the challenge ahead. As they docked and prepared to disembark, Amelia turned to her colleagues. "Remember," she said, her voice steady and clear, "we're not here to prove our strength through violence or intimidation. We're here to show them who we truly are, a species that has faced countless challenges and emerged stronger, wiser, and more united. Our history is our strength. Let's make sure they understand that." With those words, the doors opened, and humanity stepped forward to face its greatest test yet in the cosmic arena. Humanity's unexpected response. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council was a marvel of alien architecture, its soaring ceilings and intricate designs a testament to the collaborative efforts of countless species. Today, however, the atmosphere was far from collaborative. Tension hung in the air, like a thick fog, as representatives from across the galaxy gathered to witness the confrontation between humanity and the Zarkonian Empire. Amelia Chen led the human delegation into the hall, her steps measured and confident despite the butterflies in her stomach. Behind her walked Captain James Rodriguez, Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka, and a small team of experts in various fields. They were a stark contrast to the Zarkonian delegation, which was comprised entirely of towering, muscular warriors clad in ornate battle armor. At the center of the hall stood High Commander Krex, the leader of the Zarkonian Empire. His imposing figure dwarfed Amelia as she approached, but she refused to be intimidated. She met his gaze steadily, noting the mixture of disdain and curiosity in his four eyes. "So," Krex's voice boomed across the hall, "the humans have decided to face their judgment. I must admit, I'm surprised you didn't cower in your primitive settlements." Murmurs rippled through the assembled aliens. Some nodded in agreement with Krex, while others watched the humans with sympathy or interest. Amelia took a deep breath, reminding herself of the plan. "High Commander Krex," she began, her voice clear and unwavering, "we stand before you not to cower, nor to wage war. We are here to respond to your challenge in a way that truly represents who we are as a species." Krex's upper set of eyes narrowed. "And how do you intend to prove your worth? Through feats of strength, displays of technology, or perhaps you wish to offer yourselves as servants to a superior race?" A ripple of laughter echoed from the Zarkonian delegation, but Amelia didn't flinch. Instead, she smiled, a gesture that seemed to catch Krex off guard. "We intend to prove our worth through our history," she declared. "Through the stories of our triumphs and our failures, our moments of greatness and our darkest hours. We believe that true strength lies not in domination, but in resilience, adaptability, and the wisdom gained from experience." The hall fell silent, alien representatives exchanging confused glances. This was clearly not the response anyone had expected, least of all the Zarkonians. Krex let out a bark of laughter. "History. You expect to face the mightiest empire in the galaxy with bedtime stories. This is even more pathetic than I imagined." Amelia held her ground. "With all due respect, High Commander, we believe that understanding a species' history is crucial to understanding its potential. We've prepared a series of presentations that will take you through key moments in human history. We ask only that you watch with an open mind." For a moment, it seemed as though Krex might refuse outright, but curiosity flickered in his eyes, and perhaps a hint of amusement at what he perceived as a futile gesture. "Very well," he growled. "We will indulge your unusual request. But be warned, if this is a ploy to waste our time, the consequences will be severe." With a nod from Amelia, Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka stepped forward. The elderly historian activated a holographic display at the center of the hall, and the lights dimmed. What followed was a carefully curated journey through human history, focusing on moments of great challenge and the innovations born from adversity. They began with early human evolution, showing how a physically unimposing species used intelligence and tools to survive in a harsh environment. The Zarkonians watched with growing interest as the presentation moved through the ages, showcasing the rise and fall of civilizations, the development of agriculture, and the constant push to expand human knowledge. But it was when they reached more recent history that the mood in the hall began to shift. Hiroshi guided them through the world wars, showing the devastating capacity for destruction that humans possessed, but also highlighting the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable hardship. In the span of just 3 decades, Hiroshi explained, humanity fought 2 global conflicts that reshaped our world. Millions died, cities were reduced to rubble, and the very fabric of our societies was torn apart. But from this darkness came light. The holographic display showed images of the United Nations being formed, of former enemies working together to rebuild. It showcased the rapid advancements in technology, medicine, and social progress that followed. We learned the cost of unchecked aggression, Amelia added, her voice solemn. And we vowed to do better, to be better. This drive has been the cornerstone of our development ever since. The presentation continued, moving through the Cold War, the space race, and the information age. With each passing moment, the Zarkonians' expressions shifted from dismissive to intrigued, and finally to something approaching respect. As the holographic display faded, showing Earth as seen from space, a profound silence fell over the Grand Hall. Alien representatives murmured among themselves, clearly impacted by what they had witnessed. Krex stood motionless, his earlier bravado replaced by a thoughtful frown. When he finally spoke, his tone had lost its mocking edge. You've shown us much, humans, but how does this prove your worth in the here and now? How does this history make you strong? Amelia stepped forward once more, her voice filled with conviction. High Commander, our history is not just a record of past events. It is the foundation upon which we've built our present and the lens through which we view our future. Every challenge we've faced, every mistake we've made, has taught us valuable lessons. She gestured to her team, to the other human representatives scattered throughout the hall. We stand before you not as conquerors or warriors, but as explorers and innovators. Our strength lies in our diversity, our adaptability, and our unwavering determination to learn and grow. James Rodriguez, who had been silent until now, added his voice to Amelia's. We've shown you that we're capable of great destruction, but also of great compassion. We've united our world after being on the brink of annihilation. We've reached the stars not through conquest, but through cooperation and an insatiable curiosity. The hall buzzed with discussion. Many alien representatives nodded in agreement, seeing humanity in a new light. Even some of the Zarkonian warriors seemed to be reconsidering their initial judgment. Krex raised a hand, silencing the murmurs. His 4 eyes studied the human delegation intently, as if seeing them for the first time. You've given us much to consider, humans. Your approach is unexpected. We will deliberate on what we've learned here today. As the Zarkonian delegation withdrew to confer, Amelia exchanged hopeful glances with her team. They had taken an enormous risk, bearing their soul as a species before the galaxy. Now, all they could do was wait and hope that their gamble would pay off. The fate of humanity hung in the balance, but for the first time since the challenge was issued, there was a glimmer of hope. They had shown the galaxy not just their history, but their heart. And in doing so, they might have just changed the course of galactic politics forever. Lessons from Earth's history. As the Zarkonian delegation deliberated, the Grand Hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with excited discussions. Alien representatives from various species approached the human delegation, eager to learn more about the history they had just witnessed. Amelia and her team found themselves engaged in impromptu diplomatic sessions, answering questions and providing further context to humanity's journey. Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka was in his element, his eyes shining with enthusiasm as he elaborated on key historical events to a group of fascinated alien scholars. "You see," he explained, gesturing animatedly, "what makes human history unique is not just the events themselves, but how we've interpreted and learned from them." Meanwhile, Captain James Rodriguez found himself surrounded by representatives from militaristic species who were particularly interested in Earth's martial history. "It's not about having the biggest guns," he told them, his voice firm. "It's about understanding the cost of using them and finding alternatives whenever possible." Amelia moved from group to group, ensuring that humanity's message was being conveyed clearly and consistently. She couldn't help but feel a sense of pride as she watched her team interact with the galactic community. This was diplomacy in action, bridges being built through shared understanding. As the discussions continued, a small group of Zarkonians approached Amelia. Unlike their leaders, these individuals seemed genuinely curious rather than hostile. One of them, a younger warrior named Zex, spoke up hesitantly. "Your history, it's not what we expected," Zex admitted. "We were told the humans were weak, divided. But the resilience you've shown, it's admirable." Amelia smiled warmly. "Thank you, Zex. We've had our share of divisions and conflicts, it's true. But we've learned that our greatest strengths come from overcoming those differences and working together." "But how?" another Zarkonian asked, genuine confusion in their voice. "In our culture, strength comes from victory in battle. How can cooperation make you stronger?" This question sparked a deeper conversation about the nature of strength and progress. Amelia and her team took turns explaining various aspects of human history that illustrated the power of collaboration. Dr. Tanaka spoke of the Renaissance and the Enlightenment, periods of great intellectual and cultural growth, fueled by the exchange of ideas. "When we share knowledge freely," he explained, "we all benefit. One discovery builds upon another, leading to advancements that no single individual or group could achieve alone." Captain Rodriguez added examples from military history, surprising the Zarkonians with tales of unlikely alliances and how diverse perspectives led to innovative strategies. "In World War II," he explained, nations that had been bitter enemies came together to face a common threat. The combined knowledge and resources of the Allied powers were crucial to victory. As they spoke, holographic displays flickered to life, showing key moments from the events they described. The Zarkonians watched with rapt attention as scenes of human cooperation and innovation played out before them. Amelia took the opportunity to address one of the core misconceptions about humanity. "Many species see our diversity as a weakness," she said, "but it's actually our greatest strength. Each culture, each individual brings unique perspectives and ideas. When we come together, we're capable of finding solutions to problems that seemed insurmountable." She gestured to the holographic display, which now showed images of the International Space Station. "This is a perfect example. Scientists and astronauts from nations across our world work together in space, conducting experiments and expanding our understanding of the universe. It's a testament to what we can achieve when we put aside our differences and work towards a common goal." The Zarkonians listened intently, their earlier skepticism giving way to genuine interest. Zex, the young warrior who had first approached them, spoke up again. "But surely there must be conflicts. How do you resolve disputes without combat?" Amelia nodded, acknowledging the validity of the question. "Conflicts are a natural part of any diverse society. We've developed various methods of resolution over the centuries. Let me show you." With a gesture, she brought up new holographic displays, showcasing different aspects of human conflict resolution. "We have international organizations, like the United Nations, where representatives from different nations come together to discuss global issues and find peaceful solutions," Amelia explained. The hologram showed the UN General Assembly in session, delegates from around the world engaged in debate. Dr. Tanaka stepped in, adding historical context. The UN was formed after World War II, one of the deadliest conflicts in our history. It was born from the recognition that we needed better ways to resolve disputes and prevent such devastating wars from happening again. Captain Rodriguez contributed his perspective as well. Even in military matters, we prioritize diplomacy and negotiation. War is seen as a last resort, not a first option. We've learned the hard way that the costs of conflict often outweigh any potential gains. The holograms shifted to show scenes of diplomatic negotiations, peace treaties being signed, and international aid efforts. The Zarkonians watched with a mixture of fascination and confusion, clearly struggling to reconcile these ideas with their own warrior culture. But what about honor? One of them asked. In our society, personal and national honor often demands a forceful response to challenges. Amelia smiled, recognizing the cultural gap they were trying to bridge. Honor is important in many human cultures too. But over time, we've redefined what honor means. We've come to see that there's more honor in preventing a war than in winning one, more strength in lifting others up than in pushing them down. She brought up images of humanitarian missions, of scientists working together to cure diseases, of global efforts to combat climate change. These are the battles we choose to fight now, against poverty, disease, environmental destruction. These are enemies that can only be defeated through cooperation, not competition. As they continued to discuss and explore human history, the Zarkonians began to ask more nuanced questions. They were particularly interested in how humans had managed to unite their world while maintaining cultural diversity. Dr. Tanaka took the lead in explaining this aspect. Unity doesn't mean uniformity, he said. We celebrate our differences while recognizing our common humanity. It's a delicate balance, and we don't always get it right. But we keep trying, keep learning. The holographic display showed festivals from around the world, international sporting events, and global cultural exchanges. These differences give us strength, Amelia added. They provide us with a wealth of perspectives and approaches to problem solving. As the discussions continued, more alien representatives joined in, eager to learn about human history and culture. The Grand Hall had transformed from a place of judgment to a vibrant forum of intercultural exchange. Amelia couldn't help but feel a sense of hope growing. They had come here to face a challenge, to prove humanity's worth. But in sharing their history, they were doing so much more. They were building understanding, fostering curiosity, and perhaps even changing minds. Hours passed, filled with questions, explanations, and lively debates. The Zarkonians, who had arrived expecting to witness a display of military might, found themselves engrossed in discussions about philosophy, art, science, and governance. As the impromptu history lesson drew to a close, Zex, the young Zarkonian warrior, approached Amelia once more. "Thank you," he said, his voice filled with genuine gratitude. "You've given us much to think about. I never imagined that history could be so alive, so relevant." Amelia smiled warmly. "History isn't just about the past, Zex. It's about understanding who we are and shaping who we want to become. I hope that by sharing our story, we've opened the door to a new chapter in our species' relationship." As the Zarkonian delegation finally emerged from their deliberations, the atmosphere in the Grand Hall had shifted dramatically. The hostility and skepticism that had greeted the humans had been replaced by curiosity and cautious respect. High Commander Krex strode forward, his expression unreadable. The hall fell silent as all eyes turned to him, waiting to hear the Zarkonian Empire's judgment. Amelia and her team stood tall, ready to face whatever decision had been made. The fate of humanity's place in the galactic community hung in the balance. But regardless of the outcome, they had already achieved something remarkable. They had turned a challenge into an opportunity, using the power of their shared history to build bridges across the stars. The alien perspective shift. High Commander Krex stood before the assembled representatives of the Galactic Council, his imposing figure commanding attention from every corner of the Grand Hall. The Zarkonian leader's four eyes swept across the room, lingering for a moment on the human delegation before addressing the gathering. "We came here today," Krex began, his deep voice resonating through the hall, "expecting to witness a demonstration of military might or technological prowess. Instead, we have been given a history lesson." There was a hint of amusement in his tone, but also a note of respect that hadn't been there before. Amelia Chen and her team held their breath, acutely aware that the next few moments could determine the future of human-alien relations for generations to come. Krex continued, "The Zarkonian Empire has stood for millennia, our strength unquestioned, our dominion vast. We have faced countless species, witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations, but never in all our years have we encountered a response quite like this." A murmur rippled through the alien representatives. Some nodded in agreement, while others leaned forward, eager to hear the Zarkonian judgment. "The humans," Krex said, gesturing towards Amelia and her team, "have challenged our understanding of strength. They have shown us a history fraught with conflict, yes, but also with resilience, innovation, and a remarkable capacity for growth." The commander's words hung in the air, heavy with implication. The human delegation exchanged cautious glances, hardly daring to hope. "We have seen how they have faced near extinction multiple times, not just from external threats, but from their own actions. And yet each time they have emerged stronger, wiser. They have taken the lessons of their past and used them to shape their future." Krex's upper eyes narrowed slightly, a gesture that Amelia had come to recognize as thoughtful consideration. The Zarkonian way has always been one of direct confrontation, of proving our worth through combat and conquest. But these humans, they have made us question whether our way is the only way. A shocked silence fell over the Zarkonian delegation. Such words from their leader were unprecedented. Amelia could see the mixture of confusion and curiosity on their faces, mirroring the expressions of many other alien representatives. Their history speaks of a species that has learned to turn adversity into advantage, division into diversity. They have shown us that true strength lies not just in the ability to win wars, but in the wisdom to avoid them. In the courage to extend a hand in friendship, even to former enemies. Krex turned to face the human delegation directly. "You have given us much to consider, humans. Your approach to our challenge was unexpected, but effective. You have proven that there is strength in your history, in your ability to learn and adapt." Amelia felt a surge of hope, but she knew better than to let it show. The Zarkonian leader wasn't finished yet. However, Krex continued, his tone growing serious. "Words and historical accounts, no matter how impressive, are not enough to secure your place among the great civilizations of our galaxy. Actions, as you humans say, speak louder than words." The hope that had been building in Amelia's chest faltered for a moment. She could sense her team tensing beside her, preparing for the worst. But Krex surprised them once again. "Therefore, we propose a period of cultural exchange. The Zarkonian Empire will send a delegation to Earth to observe and learn from your civilization firsthand. In return, we invite a human delegation to visit our worlds." Excited whispers broke out across the Grand Hall. Such an offer from the notoriously insular Zarkonians was unheard of. During this exchange, Krex went on, raising his voice to be heard over the murmurs, "We will assess your true capabilities, your potential as allies or adversaries. This will be the true test of your worth in the galactic community." Amelia stepped forward, her heart racing, but her voice steady. "High Commander Krex, we are honored by your proposal. Humanity would be glad to participate in such an exchange. We believe that through mutual understanding, we can forge a relationship that benefits both our species and the galaxy as a whole." Krex nodded, a gesture that seemed to carry a hint of approval. "Well spoken, Ambassador Chen. Let it be known that from this day forward, the human species is granted provisional status in the galactic community, pending the outcome of our cultural exchange." The Grand Hall erupted in a cacophony of voices as representatives from various species reacted to the announcement. Many seemed excited by the prospect, while others appeared concerned about the potential shift in the galactic balance of power. As the formal proceedings concluded, Amelia found herself approached by Zex, the young Zarkonian warrior who had shown such curiosity earlier. "Ambassador," Zex said, his voice filled with a mixture of excitement and trepidation, "I've been chosen to lead the delegation to Earth. I have so many questions. Your history, your cultures. There's so much to learn." Amelia smiled warmly. "And we have just as many questions about your people, Zex. This exchange is an opportunity for both our species to grow and learn from each other." As they discussed the preliminary details of the exchange, Amelia couldn't help but marvel at how far they'd come in just one day. They had arrived facing the threat of annihilation and were leaving with the promise of a new interstellar partnership. Captain Rodriguez joined them, his earlier tension replaced by cautious optimism. "It's a good outcome," he said quietly to Amelia. "But we've got our work cut out for us. The Zarkonians won't be easy to impress." Amelia nodded, fully aware of the challenges ahead. "True, but that's what humanity does best, isn't it? Rising to challenges, defying expectations. We've shown them our history. Now it's time to show them our present and our vision for the future." As the human delegation prepared to depart, Amelia took one last look around the grand hall. The seeds of understanding had been planted here today. It was up to them now to nurture those seeds, to help them grow into a lasting peace. The journey ahead would not be easy. There would be misunderstandings to overcome, prejudices to dismantle, and trust to be built. But as she looked at her team, at the curious Zarkonians, and at the diverse array of alien species all around them, Amelia felt a surge of determination. This was more than just a test of humanity's worth. It was an opportunity to forge a new path, to show that the lessons of their history could guide them towards a brighter future. A future where strength was measured not by the power to destroy, but by the capacity to understand, to cooperate, and to grow. As they boarded their ship for the journey home, Amelia knew that the real work was just beginning. But for the first time since the Zarkonian challenge had been issued, she felt truly hopeful. Humanity had faced its greatest test on the galactic stage, and had emerged not just surviving, but with the potential to thrive. The stars stretched out before them, no longer a realm of threat and challenge, but a vista of endless possibility. And humanity, with its rich tapestry of history and its unyielding spirit, was ready to take its place among them. A new understanding. The weeks following the dramatic events at the Galactic Council were a whirlwind of activity for humanity. News of the encounter with the Zarkonians and the upcoming cultural exchange spread rapidly, igniting a mixture of excitement, apprehension, and curiosity across Earth and its colonies. Amelia Chen found herself at the center of it all, coordinating preparations for both the incoming Zarkonian delegation and the team that would be venturing to the alien empire. The weight of responsibility was enormous, but she approached the task with the same determination and diplomacy that had served her so well in the Grand Hall. As the day of the exchange drew near, Amelia stood in the newly constructed Interstellar Cultural Center in New Geneva, overseeing the final preparations. The center was a marvel of human ingenuity and cooperation, built in record time to serve as a bridge between Earth and its galactic visitors. "Everything looks ready," Captain Rodriguez said, coming to stand beside her. "Security protocols are in place, but discreet. We want our guests to feel welcome, not watched." Amelia nodded, appreciating the delicate balance they needed to strike. "Good. And our team for the Zarkonian mission?" "Prepped and ready," Rodriguez confirmed. "Dr. Tanaka has been working around the clock to brief them on Zarkonian culture and potential diplomatic pitfalls." As they spoke, a commotion near the main entrance caught their attention. The Zarkonian delegation had arrived. Zex, the young warrior who had shown such curiosity during the council meeting, led the group. His four eyes widened as he took in the center, clearly impressed by the speed and quality of human construction. "Ambassador Chen," Zex greeted, bowing slightly. "Your world is not what we expected." Amelia smiled warmly. I hope that will be a recurring theme during your stay, Zex. Welcome to Earth. Over the next few days, the Zarkonian delegation was given a comprehensive tour of human civilization. They'd visited sprawling cities and small villages, witnessed cutting-edge scientific research and ancient cultural practices. At every turn, they were confronted with the diversity and dynamism of human society. One particularly memorable moment came during a visit to a university campus. The Zarkonians watched in fascination as students from all over the world engaged in heated debates about philosophy, science, and politics. "This is allowed?" one of the Zarkonian observers asked, clearly shocked. "In our society, challenging authority or established ideas is discouraged." Dr. Tanaka, who was accompanying the group, smiled. "Here, it's encouraged. We believe that the clash of ideas, when done respectfully, leads to growth and innovation. Some of our greatest advancements have come from people daring to question the status quo." This concept seemed to both intrigue and unsettle the Zarkonians. Their society, built on strict hierarchy and unquestioning obedience, was being challenged by everything they saw. Meanwhile, on the Zarkonian homeworld, the human delegation was having revelations of their own. They marveled at the aliens' incredible physical abilities and advanced military technology. But they also saw the limitations of a society that valued strength above all else. Dr. Elena Vasquez, a sociologist on the human team, recorded her observations. The Zarkonians have achieved incredible feats of engineering and martial prowess, but their society lacks the dynamism we take for granted. There's little room for individual expression or deviation from established norms. It's a stark reminder of the path humanity might have taken without our commitment to diversity and free thought. As the exchange progressed, both sides found their preconceptions challenged and their worldviews expanded. The Zarkonians, who had initially seen humans as weak and divided, began to recognize the strength in their adaptability and diverse approaches to problem-solving. One pivotal moment came when Earth faced a sudden environmental crisis. A massive solar flare threatened to overwhelm the planet's protective systems. The Zarkonians watched in awe as humans from all walks of life came together, pooling their knowledge and resources to address the threat. Scientists worked tirelessly to reinforce the planetary shields, while volunteers organized support networks for potentially affected areas. The Zarkonian delegation, accustomed to top-down, military-style responses to crises, were amazed by the spontaneous, grassroots organization of human efforts. Zex, who had been keenly observing everything, turned to Amelia as the crisis was successfully averted. "I think I understand now," he said, his voice filled with newfound respect. "Your history, your way of life, it's all connected. You face challenges not by overpowering them, but by outthinking them, by coming together in ways we never considered possible." Amelia nodded, feeling a sense of pride in her species. "That's the essence of who we are, Zex. We're not the strongest or the most advanced species in the galaxy, but we are adaptable, creative, and resilient. We've learned to turn our differences into strengths." As the exchange period neared its end, both the human and Zarkonian delegations prepared their final reports. The mood was one of cautious optimism, with both sides recognizing the potential for a revolutionary shift in galactic relations. On the last day of the exchange, a joint conference was held at the Interstellar Cultural Center. Representatives from both species, along with observers from the Galactic Council, gathered to hear the final assessments. High Commander Krex himself had arrived to deliver the Zarkonian verdict. As he took the stage, the room fell into a tense silence. "When we issued our challenge to humanity," Krex began, his voice carrying easily through the hall, "we expected to find a species unworthy of the galactic stage. We were prepared to pass judgment based on criteria that have served us for millennia." He paused, his four eyes scanning the audience. "We were wrong." A collective gasp rippled through the room. Such an admission from the leader of the Zarkonian Empire was unprecedented. Humanity has shown us that there are forms of strength we had not considered, Krex continued. Their history, which we initially dismissed as irrelevant, has proven to be their greatest asset. It has shaped them into a species uniquely equipped to face the challenges of our complex galaxy. Amelia felt a surge of pride and relief. Their gamble, their decision to face the Zarkonian challenge with openness and honesty about their past, had paid off. We have witnessed their ability to unite in the face of crisis, to innovate solutions to problems that would have stymied our best minds, Krex said. But most impressively, we have seen their capacity for growth and self-reflection. They do not shy away from the darker chapters of their history, but rather use them as lessons to build a better future. The commander's gaze found Amelia in the crowd. Ambassador Chen, your species has not just met our challenge. You have redefined it. In doing so, you have also challenged us, the Zarkonian Empire, to reconsider our own values and practices. A murmur of surprise ran through the Zarkonian delegation. This was more than just an acknowledgement of humanity's worth. It was the beginning of a profound shift in their own worldview. Therefore, Krex announced, his voice ringing with authority, it is the decision of the Zarkonian Empire to not only recognize humanity as equals, but to propose a formal alliance. We believe that our species can learn much from each other, and together, we can forge a new path in galactic politics. The hall erupted in applause and excited chatter. Amelia felt tears of joy and relief stinging her eyes. They had done it. Humanity had secured its place among the stars. As the formalities concluded and people began to mingle, Amelia found herself approached by Zex. The young Zarkonian's demeanor had changed dramatically since their first meeting. Gone was the arrogant warrior, replaced by a thoughtful, curious individual. Ambassador, Zex said, a note of reverence in his voice. I want to thank you. This exchange has opened my eyes to possibilities I never imagined. I've requested to stay on Earth as part of a long-term cultural mission, if you'll have me. Amelia smiled warmly. We be honored, Zex. And please, call me Amelia. As they chatted, Dr. Tanaka joined them, his eyes twinkling with excitement. You know, he said, this reminds me of a moment in our history. After World War II, former enemies became some of our strongest allies. It changed the course of our development as a species. Zex nodded enthusiastically. Yes, I remember that from your presentations. Do you think this could be a similar turning point for our species? I believe it could be a turning point for the entire galaxy, Amelia said. We've shown that strength comes in many forms, and that understanding and cooperation can be more powerful than any weapon. As the conference wound down, Amelia found a quiet moment to reflect. The journey that had begun with a dire threat had ended with the promise of a brighter future. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge, not through force of arms, but through the power of its history, its diversity, and its unwavering spirit. She thought about the long road that had led them here, the countless struggles, the moments of near extinction, the triumphs and failures that had shaped human civilization. All of it had prepared them for this moment, for this opportunity to change the course of galactic history. As she looked out at the mingling crowds of humans and aliens, Amelia felt a profound sense of hope. They had proven that the lessons of history could light the way to the future, that the strength of humanity lay not in domination, but in understanding, in turning enemies into friends, challenges into opportunities. The stars no longer seemed distant or threatening. They were a promise, a challenge, an invitation, and humanity, with all its flaws and all its potential, was ready to answer that call. As the sun set on this historic day, Amelia knew that they stood at the dawn of a new era, an era of cooperation, of mutual understanding, of endless possibilities. The galaxy would never be the same again, and neither would humanity.